Where is it?
The party.
Where is it?
The party.
Where is it?
Oi, where is it?
Where is it?
Where is it?
It's here.
We all know that poodles are the smartest dogs in the world, but this year we needed a bloodhound to find the party. So where's the party? The party is right here with all of you. Good evening and welcome to the Purim Ball. This may not be how we're used to celebrating, but this party isn't about where you are, it's about who you're with. So thank you for coming. Like everyone, we took our programs virtual in the spring, and we had no idea what to expect. But when 1,000 people showed up for a collection tour that would typically be, let's say, around 20, when 91,000 people viewed our shofar blowing on Instagram, that gave us confidence. Over the past year, we have found ways to maintain a sense of connection, hope, community, levity, and yes, humor, even from a distance. Tonight, we are honoring those who played a crucial role in that effort. The really brilliant, talented artist, Jonathan Horowitz, who I also consider a friend, visionary philanthropists, Shari and Jeff Aronson, and our incomparable security and operations staff, who have ensured the safety of our historic building, our collection, and our entire team. We also know that this past year has not always been a party. The museum lost 2 beloved guest curators last spring. For more than 25 years, Maurice Berger was a valued colleague and friend. He passionately demonstrated the highest standard of scholarship. As a cultural historian, he wrote about race relations, art, and Jewish culture. You will find one of Maurice's final essays featured in our forthcoming exhibition, Modern Look, Photography in the American Magazine. COVID also claimed the life of impresario Germano Celant. He was an esteemed professor, art historian. He considered himself a nomad, and he traveled the globe. He was the director of the Prada Foundation, former curator at the Guggenheim Museum, and he was my close friend and trusted advisor for over 35 years. He taught me how to see. One cannot ask for much more, but I always did. His final show, Revisiting New York 62-64, will open at the museum in 2022. While Maurice and Germano were both very different, they both had very unconventional ways of looking at art and culture. Their signature styles will live on and continue to shape the world we live in today. They will both be deeply missed. I want to thank our fearless chairman, Robert Pruzan, his wife Tracy, our amazing board of trustees, our members, and in the entire museum staff. Thank you for joining us this evening.
My name is Jason. I've been working security for 5 years now. At the Jewish Museum, we always take a certain level of vigilance and precaution against possible threats. Now we have the same approach, but more. And it's not just COVID. For a couple of months, we were a city under curfew. Emotions were heightened. There was a lot of unrest and reckoning going on. But we're New Yorkers. We're resilient. Sometimes we need to set everything else aside to come together. In March, April, May, I avoided subways and took the bus. But when the buses got crowded, I started biking to work instead. You find a way. My son, he's 10. I told them there wasn't anything to worry about. There's a certain feeling you get. Your kids hug you more. They give you a kiss on the forehead unexpectedly sometimes. They feel it too. But as a parent, you work to provide. My kids and their future, that's my motivation. I'm happy to be back, to have a job, and to be a part of this team. I can only speak to my experience, but because of the risks we take, I think we all appreciate each other a bit more. We may be a little heavy in the chest sometimes, but we walk forward anyway. On behalf of the entire team, thank you. Stay safe.
These are challenging times for all of us. The COVID virus has disrupted our lives, paralyzed our city, and forced our museum to examine every element of our organization, as well as our approach to serving the community. Your support has allowed us to keep our staff employed, our doors open, our programming relevant, and our visitors engaged. As we celebrate Purim and joyously commemorate the triumph of the Jewish people over a violent enemy, I want to remind you of the importance of the Jewish Museum to our city. We are a powerful, dynamic symbol of strength, creativity, ethics, and inclusiveness of the Jewish people. With our remarkable collection of art and ceremonial objects, compelling exhibitions, and vibrant educational and family programs, the museum is a source of inspiration and shared values for people of all religious and cultural backgrounds. We need your support more than ever to ensure that we can continue to share and shape Jewish identity for generations to come. In addition to our honorees, Jeff and Shari Aronson, Jonathan Horowitz, and our amazing frontline staff, I want to thank my fellow co-chairs, my wife Tracy, Megan Bennett Goodman, Stacy and Curtis Lane, Nancy and Morris Offit, Susan and Stephen Schur, and Harriet and Leonard Schleifer for their time and dedicated commitment to the museum. I'm grateful to the Purim Bowl Vice Chairs and to my entire Board of Trustees, as well as our tremendous staff for making tonight possible. And most importantly, I look forward to seeing you all in person soon.
Come on, y'all. Esther, let's do this.
Come on in and celebrate tonight, we're one. Welcome in and celebrate, let's have some fun. Everyone having fun. Tonight's the night, it's Purim.
The story of this glory is quite a tale to tell. Plotting lies by evil guys and how we did prevail. The scene is set as Vashti gets kicked off to the side. Now the king is searching for a brand new bride. And a Mordecai, the sort of guy to help a sister sing. Morty talked to Esther, threw her hat into the ring. This Wonder Woman clearly woke and went and did her thing. Esther blessed as she gets chosen married to the king. But marriage bliss was put on pause when Morty wouldn't bow to the PM of the king with a nefarious know-how. Eradicate and put an end to all the Jewish families. His plot of casting lots was making people quite panicky. Morty spoke to Esther and suggested that she claim her heritage so all could see it truly clear and plain. Now Ahasuerus strung the gallows and justice came in. Contained the threat, now we don't set the baddie name. Hey man!
Come on in and celebrate tonight, we're one. Welcome in and celebrate, let's have some fun. Everyone having fun. Tonight's the night, it's Purim.
What's What's up with the masks and all the gifts for us to nosh on? What's up with the 3 tips on the poppy hamantaschen? Do we get so tipsy that we start to get a slurry? A sure thing on Purim, we party in a hurry. We got masks and games jumping off like we was Frogger. Clacka, lacka, lacka, yeah, you know we got them groggers. Toggle back and forth between the pageants and the proverbs. Simply need to let it go and get a little absurd. Building our community to uplift our voices. Looking out for others like Esther's choice. It's a night to rejoice, a night to erupt, a night to get a little more wine and fill your cup. So raise a glass to Morty, raise a glass up to Esther. Been through trials and tribulations, yeah, we passed the test. Blessed be the night we rejoice and remain. And move your feet, cause we did beat the baddie named Hey Man.
Come on in and celebrate tonight, we're one. Welcome in and celebrate, let's have some fun. Yes, we want to down, hey fun. Tonight's the night, it's Purim.
There's really no place in New York quite like the Jewish Museum. The mission of the museum is very open, but the word Jewish in its name has an enormous weight. When you see a show here, memory and history are always present. I think the first thing that most people ask themselves when they see a work of art at the Jewish Museum is, why is this here? Is it simply because the artist is Jewish? When I was asked to make a show on the resurgence of anti-Semitism in 2017, the simple fact that my last name is Horowitz didn't feel like it was enough. I wanted to bring more. And so I began thinking about my Jewish identity in ways I hadn't before, and about the assumptions that are made about me because of my name, Horowitz. At the crux of all prejudice are assumptions that are made about people based on things that are in and of themselves meaningless, like a name, skin color, gender identity, or place of origin. To focus on just anti-Semitism in light of what was going on in America in 2017 would have been woefully incomplete. So what I developed was a show that deals with the experiences of many different marginalized groups and brings those experiences together. When I was working on the show, a question that continually came up was whether you can know what someone else experiences if you're not part of that group. I think the cautious, careful thing to say is that you can't. But actually, I think that you kind of can. I'm Jewish and I'm gay, and a lot of the works in the show are not about those experiences. But at the same time, I feel like they are about my experience. I think art has a unique ability to do that, to create empathy. And this is a time when empathy is sorely needed. Many people have asked me if the show changed at all between March, when it was supposed to open, and October, when it actually did. And the answer is no. It stayed pretty much as it was. But of course, the world changed, and so the experience of the art changed too. Always, the context in which we see art becomes part of how the art is experienced. And the context of the Jewish Museum, because it is so weighted in its identity, invites all who enter to deeply explore their own. And that, I believe, is one of its greatest assets.
Sometimes being Jewish comes with a lot of weight on your shoulders. The Jewish Museum tells that story without being overburdened by it. It's world class, yet intimate. It's beyond magnificent without being overwhelming. Many New Yorkers don't know it well because they don't understand that it's not a museum for Jewish people. It's a museum for all people. The connection is always there. Maybe a Jew owned this piece of art or curated the show, but the collection and its visitors are diversified by religion, race, and age. Before the pandemic, I think it was easy to take all that for granted. We were used to taking these things in at our leisure. But as our cultural institutions began to close their doors, I was worried.
The needs across our country have been so great: food, shelter, healthcare, and so many have risen to meet them. And the way our community rallied to support the Jewish Museum, the way the security guards and the frontline staff kept showing up every day to protect and clean the building, reminded us of what we have always known. This place, this museum, and the way it so uniquely merges the arts, Judaism, and New York City is an essential part of the fabric of our lives. This past November, when I stepped into the museum for the first time since the shutdown, I actually came alive just reading some of those little plaques affixed next to the artwork. I wouldn't ordinarily use the word thrilling when talking about a museum, but it absolutely was. The Jewish Museum is a place that builds bridges between people at a time when we so desperately need that, where people's voices can be heard without being drowned out. Government and politics so often tear people apart. Our museum, however, is a place to share, to learn, and to experience other points of view.
The Purim Ball was the last big event we attended before COVID. It feels very special to be honored this year in particular, because whether you're visiting the permanent collection, feeling the energy at one of the openings, or even joining for a virtual tour, the warmth of this place is always there. And without this year, I'm not sure we would know that as deeply as we do now. This year, we have all learned the party is where you make it.
Spinning, you feel the rhythm going. Legs ain't got time to lay low. Your knees are bending, so it's time to get up and let go. Hey, mama, how is it going? Can see your body moving. Don't leave the party dying. Keep booty shaking, you know your head has no right to say no. Tonight it's ready, set, go. Baby, can you move around the rhythm so we can get with and jump around? Rock and roll round, what's the countdown? Body coming with the super hottie, let's go. No slow, hell no, baby, can you move around the rhythm? Cause you know we're living in the fast lane. Speed up, it ain't no game. Just turn up all the beams when I come upon the rest.
Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome. Fremde, étranger, stranger, glücklich zu sehen, je suis enchanté. Happy to see you. Bleibe, reste, stay. The party is wherever we make it.